This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man.
Boy!
Hey, let's talk about you, the ID10T community events at ID10T.com, like Russ Stevens, a.k.a.
Cat Bus Russ,
who has started a podcast called 90 for Chill, which Russ says is dedicated to movies with a runtime between 74 and 99 minutes, the time frame that I feel is ideal. Russ, I could not agree with you more. That is a fantastic idea. Russ goes on to say there are times you need a cinematic fix but don't have time for the latest Scorsese masterpiece or offering from a comic book universe. There's also times when you need a conclusion to prevent a binge costing you a whole night. My guest and I try to follow these guidelines as we chat up features that are definitely worth your time and are beyond easy to make time for. 90 for Chill, the podcast, can be found on all major podcast platforms at 90forchill.com, and that's spelling out 90, Ninety, 4 FOR, chill. So there you go. Thank you so much for sharing, Russ. Really great idea for a podcast. Events at ID10T.com for everyone else.
There's something moving in the air tonight.
The good guys always win.
Something moving at the speed of light. And it's calling, calling, calling to you. Then you can believe I'm coming on. Like a MegaForce.
It was the good guys always win, even in the end.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to this moment for at least 3 minutes.
And they're not going to shoot any of those rockets in them.
Wait a minute, I didn't ask the question yet. So we got to start all over from the top.
The first time I saw MegaForce, I think I must have been 10. That was the same summer my folks got divorced, and my dad left our family. MegaForce was a naive, idyllic film. You know, that makes people hopeful, even if things aren't that way in real life.
Who would get all these people together for a movie that wasn't popular, that wasn't successful, and that everybody has forgotten? Not only people who have watched it, but people who made it.
I mean, nobody sets out to make a bad movie. We thought we were watching the next Star Wars.
And they get to let loose all those rockets.
Where the hell are those gonna come down?
It was dynamite. It was dynamite and gasoline.
3, 2, 1.
Glad he pushed the button and I didn't push that button.
I have a real legit opportunity to get myself and Ace Hunter on motorcycles in the desert. It's gonna be like the coolest thing ever.
Come on, let's do this. The good guys always win, and I have a feeling that Bob is one of those good guys.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Bring the noise.
Thank you for checking out this bonus episode of I Dig Crazy Flicks with Cat Bus Russ. I am your host, Cat Bus Russ, and I'm just in my hotel room at the Embassy Suites downtown in Des Moines, Iowa, after day one of GalaxyCon. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was kind of a stressful day in a lot of ways. And, well, it's been a stressful couple of weeks for me. Well, and honestly, I could say a week, but Thursday to Thursdays. Just a lot of tough stuff. And, it's one of those I don't know how much I want to talk about because I've been able to keep most of this drama within my family or my former job in Urbana. No, I'm sorry, in Champaign. I unfortunately have been working 2 jobs, so I'm not in as much trouble as I could be. But, it was a tough losing that job just because I spent so much time trying to get it, and this seems to happen to me every 10 years or so, sadly. 2005, it was the literal fallout with Stephanie Smith. 2015, I just got on at the Mark Twain Hotel after 3 years of part-time work, and then they said I can't drive, and then let's just say this: Benny's Beverage Depot has a great crew in Champaign, and the management was very cool, but they're always hiring because they're always firing, and there's just no room for any kind of reasonableness in terms of their HR, and that's at the corporate level and the office in Niles, Illinois. Like, they make those decisions, and basically if you're a cashier, and I think I'm damn good at that job, a store associate, what have you, there's no extenuating circumstances why a mistake was made. A mistake is made, it is counted against you, and you're working with an expiration date, and mine just hit. So I'd like to thank the management at the Benny's in Champaign for being as supportive as they are, and for the most part, it was a pleasure working for them. So, and then the week prior to that, again, I just don't know how much I should say, because that is something really nobody else's business unless you read the News Gazette in Champaign-Urbana. So that's where my head's at, or was at. So I drove to my parents' house in Morton, Illinois, right after, I left about the time I expected to leave. I did a lot of cleaning of my apartment, and probably not enough. Allie, please don't be too judgmental when you visit Ava, the queen kitty, to make sure she's fed. And then left for Morton, and I got there, pretty much went right to bed after a discussion with my parents about all my drama before I let them know that Benny's let me go on top of that. And it had nothing to do with my drama, as I say. So I probably didn't get to bed till about 1 p.m. I woke up probably 10-ish, maybe a little earlier, got cleaned up, and took the Poetic Critic to her job since I was heading west anyhow, and that put me around, I'd say, 11:30 when I got her dropped off, picked up lunch, picked up some hand sanitizer at Walgreens, and got on the road and made it into Des Moines by about 4:20, and got to the con in a rush. My panel for 1985 Triple Threat match was at 7 p.m. and 5 o'clock, and I still had to figure that place out. And once you figure it out, it's a pretty nice facility. They should be a little more wide open. I believe it is the EMC Insurance Expo Center, and as I say, once you figure it out, it's pretty easy to get around with. But they don't really keep things wide open. Maybe it's fire law, I don't know. So it took me a while to figure out where I needed to be, and that I will go and just bear with me a moment as I grab my phone and check out my notes I took from the con. So, no, I shouldn't need that necessarily, because they do give you printed schedules at GalaxyCon, which is great way to sell advertisements. I would say better than what C2E2 and Fan Expo do with their apps. And let me see, just looking at further people going to be at the convention. Another one was Giancarlo Esposito. And we're going to have a Flash reunion. They have John Barrowman there. So, that's about all I know from that show. And I shouldn't say Flash, Arrow, but again, they got the Asian alien guy. Aliens. And the big thing will probably be the cast reunion of Josie and the Pussycats, the movie. Well, I guess they don't have... I think it's not Rosario Dawson. I don't see her listed here. So, but you got Rachel A. Cook and Tara Reid, so that'll be interesting and fun. Ooh, Scott Steiner. So, yeah, a lot of fun to be had. And let's see, is that tomorrow? Premium ticketed events. I could get myself in some serious trouble with my current drama. So, yeah, but let me go grab my phone real fast, and I'll be back in a moment.
Anyway, MegaForce was directed by Hal Needham, a former Hollywood stuntman who specializes in making movies in which the characters are only an excuse for the chases and the stunts. He made Cannonball Run, a real dumb movie, a vacuum-headed, complete and total waste of time. Now here he is again with lots of explosions, lots of clouds of dust, dozens of motorcycles lined up and roaring across the desert, and the movie got me so involved that I was reduced to total and stunned apathy.
Well, I think I can think of another problem, too, and that is the character of Ace Hunter. We saw him there in the band.
That's a great, clever name,
yeah.
Right?
We saw him with a bandana. This is Barry Bostwick, who's been terrific in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, also in Movie. He's a terrific song and dance man. But Ace Hunter, no. And the costume designer who puts him in a gold lame jumpsuit is, I think, a little bit off. This guy should be hunting for bargains in a supermarket or something. He is not Ace Hunter, the warrior. The movie wants to be a little silly and action-filled, and the director doesn't have a fix on it. They should have gone one way or another, either parody all kinds of things or go real full action.
These Hal Needham movies always seem to have the same... It's as if Needham just has to get through the first hour somehow so that in the second hour he can have his obligatory shot where he lines up all the vehicles that he can possibly rent, buy, or hire and runs them across the desert in a big line, and they all do some spectacular stunt, and it's... I've seen it. I've seen it, and I've seen it, and I've seen it. This movie was just absolutely repetitious as far as I was.
Thank you for your patience there. I'm back. I have my notes pulled up. I got my printed schedule out, so very cool. I say lots of advertisements. They will really want to have a lot more fun, and hey, they're... Ooh. I'm going to have to be curious. Hopefully I can get on to GalaxyCon Columbus, Ohio. It looks like they're going to have AEW and Ring of Honor running alongside it, so cool. As I say, advertisements. So get with the time, get back to the good times. C2E2 and Fan Expo. All right. So as I say, it was tough walking around trying to figure out where I needed to be. I mean, eventually I figured out where my panel room was because I wanted to check out the celebrity panel stuff, which is happening up on the third floor. My panel's on the middle floor, on the bottom floor, and the ground floor is actually the second floor. It's an interesting facility, but once you figure it out, it's pretty easy. And you know, I had to walk a half mile to get here. You know, if they didn't give me such short notice, maybe I could have been at the Hilton and just done skywalks and what have you. But I digress. So, the first panel I checked out, it was a None of This Matters podcast live with Dana Snyder and MC Chris. It's the first time these two voice actors, primarily known for their voice acting, I would say. MC Chris did have the song, well, he's got a couple of songs on Aqua Teen Hunger Force, but he got in as a voice actor on C-Lab. And he got to tell us a story about moving from New York to Atlanta to be a voice actor with Adult Swim. And I'll get to the notes further about that. While Dana Gould is Master Shake, or Dana Gould. No, Dana Snyder. I am very sorry. It's been a long one, and I am sober. So just, you know, 4 hours in the car and 4.5 hours in the car and, you know, just running around. So basically I failed to go and record audio on when I finally got the questions because they were just riffing on each other so much, you know. They didn't really have to keep track of time. I mean, Lord knows MC Chris didn't because he thought, all right, we're we're down to the last 5 minutes. Oh, we started at 5:30, not 5 o'clock. Okay, so good. Thus, they were just riffing on each other. MC Chris is a small guy, and he was just telling about small people's stores, while Dana responded with how on one of the shows he did for Adult Swim that Seth Green was on it, and it was a live show, and live action show, I should say, and we find out that Seth Green is so small, his sizes for costumers are listed in the children's department. So, and then you get goofy stories, like these two guys are just hanging out, riffing on each other. It'd be great to be able to have a podcast like that. Hopefully one day I'll have that celebrity, and hopefully one day I can just podcast, I suppose. One can dream, but you get silly things like how about Die Hard and taking your socks off in hotels, essentially. Like, Dana hates the idea of taking his socks off in a hotel because, businessman jizz all over the place. And in the meantime, MC Chris does it, pulls off his socks as well, and makes knuckles with his or fist with his toes, like John McClane in Die Hard. So essentially, Dana would respond he'd rather walk on broken glass than hotel jizz. So, and somehow they got the stripper pole etiquette. It's so nice that they cleaned the poles, and they had some weird stints about talking about women's pubic hair and some poorly phrased stuff. But roommate stories. At one point, I think it was MC Chris, said his real name, and how there's a porn star that shares that name. I think it's Chris Ward. Regardless, MC Chris said, it's like CJ Ward, whoever, that remote guy in the Ramones, and I just respond, they're. Ramon isn't their real name, and it's like, and I was the guy who said, "You're telling me they're not brothers?" And I got the response from MC Chris, "Don't be funnier than me." So, I didn't do too bad, but they enjoy stuff like talking about TikTok arrest videos. They had some roommate stories, at least for MC Chris in New York, going to college with a roommate whose hair was long but thinning, and it'd get wrapped in his toes, and he couldn't complain because he'd just get ran out by the roommate and his girlfriend, who never slept at their own place, and worrisome tales of what they were doing to him, or when they decided to start screwing in that dorm. It's their podcast, so I should just shut the hell up about it, because hey, I'm going to be on it at least, so my audio is going to be there somewhere. But it's the None of This Matters podcast, and this is the first time they did it live at a con, and they suffer the same kind of issues I've learned from, like, oh great, we're not actually going to get the audience sound because their mics are directly into the computer and the soundboard and what have you. So, but it was a lot of fun, and my question to Dana, it ended up being the Dana, and fortunately the next person asked MC Chris a question. My question to Dana was how, you were able to work on Lego Star Wars for Disney, and he's done other stuff on Disney. I think he's the ghost on a kid show where the word ghost is in the title. And, he just said, but it turns out he's a real big Disney fan, dare I say a Disney adult. And he was just like, he'd have to tone down his pleasure of, his just working for Disney, not fanboy out, not ask questions like, are his Mickey's hands as soft as they look? And he tells how, since he's got himself an LLC, or he's incorporated at least, he can't get Silver Pass, while other voice actors who don't of an incorporated name, can. So yeah, he's paying full price. In other words, for Disney World. So I mean, it was a fun panel. Just two fun people riffing off each other. MC Chris talking about, his question that he got asked was about his music. What's his favorite song? And he says his go-to is Fet's Vet, which is played on Aqua Teen Hunger Force. It's in Zack and Miri Make a Porno, which I haven't done on the podcast. Dare I say it? Drop Andrew T's name there. But it's also like, he can tell that a lot of his fans are autistic just because, and we're talking the high-functioning neurodivergent, like the Poetic Critic, like, when he's singing the song and he's looking to get some feedback from the audience, and when he looks them in the eye, yep. So from there, it was time for 1985 Triple Threat match, which, the crowd was bigger than it was in Atlanta, but I would say that I didn't have any guests with me on the panel, so it was a lot like a TED Talk, so trying to get them involved. I was able to find a wired mic with a decent-sized cord, but, maybe I'm not engaging enough, because of the spectator element, but, it took, I'd say it took, about a half hour, though, which may be a long time, but we had a good, as I say, good crowd for me, at least. We almost hit double digits. And definitely twice the size of Atlanta. I think Atlanta may have been a lot more fun just because I had such great co-panelists with me. And, maybe GalaxyCon can take that into note, because I did say it, I'll release it as a podcast, but if you're getting a panelist, go and offer other panels for them to work on. And we did determine a winner this time, but it's I think it might inspire the next panel, dare I say, with that I do for 2026, because it also, just me ranting about 80s and 90s, 2000, and all the way up to now, and how oh my god, it's not that different from the 80s. Maybe I made a mistake being so nostalgic. But you know what? That also tells me I could focus on 1996. But I got some wrestling chat in there, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then I checked out a panel, and I'm sorry, she only introduced herself by her first name. She did came in late on mine, and it to get prep for hers, but I think she said her name was Kelly, but she really did her homework on her panel, Eternal Love, Vampire Media Renaissance. And, she had a great PowerPoint, so she was prepped for 45 minutes. She did it on her own. And, you just have to have the right topic, because she had a pretty good-sized crowd, maybe even bigger than the None of This Matters podcast. I think it's just, you got to hit the right chord. Vampires are hot. And 1985, 1985 is old. So that's something to note. This is the first time really that I guess I really got to compare and contrast panel topics. I would say C2E2 being a little more industry based, people want to learn more about industry stuff. This is the first time in a while that I just went and did I'd say went and saw a panel just for the content, and she did a great job. And again, she was very nice, very complimentary of what I was doing, and she only had a Friday pass, but I hope she's able to go down to St. Louis GalaxyCon. There's My Drama. Provided I get invited, but with My Drama, they're could be a opening there. I'm gonna do my best if I get the invitation. Just as they say, drama, and but she did a great job, and so that took us. So we did 5:30 to 6:30 was None of This Matters. 7 to 7:45 was 1985 Triple Threat match. She ran a pretty tight 45 minutes for the Vampire Media Renaissance, Eternal Love. And she took some feedback from me even, which really all I had to say was, you could have brought up Near Dark. And she saw it though, and like, it's a Western, she said, and it's not really that sexy, which I don't know if I'd say that, but Bill, she had the classic, that's the one with Bill Paxton. Okay, thank you. I was going to say Pullman. So, very cool. And then I went and checked out the convention debut of Making MegaForce, which Barry Bostwick did the introduction to alongside fan number 5, as he's listed in the cast, Will, and I don't think Barry gave the last name out, but they reminisced about Barry Bostwick. I don't think he's much for reminiscing even. I've seen him this maybe the third time I've seen him at a con. The first time was him introducing Rocky Horror, which he'll be doing tomorrow night. And then this was introducing MegaForce, Making MegaForce, a documentary about what starts as a as the director. I'm gonna have to get that up on my phone. Sorry, I'm not using the computer. I'm laying on my bed, honestly, not sitting on it. I don't know why, now that I think about it. I'm just doing my best to get the best audio for you, so especially since I can't do it in the lounge area because the AC is very loud in there of this 2-room suite. Right, there we go. IMDb. Okay. All right, so so the director and star second to Barry Bostwick, he calls himself fan number 1, is director Barry Lindemeyer. I guess he's done some. I was wondering how he made a living. He lives up in Seattle, but he's been in art department, so he can afford to try being the biggest MegaForce superfan. And we do, there's a lot. Barry Bostwick just has a ball just joking about the fact that, nobody really saw the movie back in 1982 during his intro. Some people are asking about, do you think it failed because you were up against Blade Runner and, The Thing, and it's like, those movies bombed, so it's not because of that. And then somebody said, well, is it because you did a movie in the desert with bikes and dune buggies, and that's kind of like The Road Warrior? He said Mad Max, and it's like, yeah, I gotta correct you. Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, is the international title. It's just The Road Warrior stateside. Thank you, the poetic critic. And I said, well, you opened at least a month after E.T., the highest grossing movie at the box office for 17 years. And Barry, played off of that. E.T., what's that? And I said, oh, I'm sorry, the full-length title tells you what it is, E.T. Extraterrestrial. And he said, oh, well, and that just led. Oh, I thought I saw commercials for that. Are you having ET issues? Then take this pill. So, where we're going with that. So he was fun, but then you get the technical drama in playing the feature. So the crew was downloading this movie all day because they had to get a link to it because it's not technically been distributed by anybody yet. It's done a few festivals, and I watched the trailer for it, and it wasn't approved for many festivals. So they're having a great time with it. That's the important thing. And but it's a movie where Barry Lyndon Meyer wanted to make a documentary about the making of MegaForce, and what happens is he just went and had developed a good friendship with Barry Bostwick, and then it just is a documentary about him again becoming the biggest MegaForce fan, doing his best to get as many of the original motorcycle dirt bikes and dune buggies as he can to recreate scenes. And you do get to hear great stories about stunts gone wrong, like the initial attempt for a flying effect. They don't focus much on the drama, which I think was something brought up in the introduction with Barry and Will, that and I'm doing that, I'm saying that, and it's like, well, you have just pulled up making MegaForce. Let's see, sandbag, south. So yeah, doing a see all. So yeah, it was, well, no, they don't even list the people, the fans. So I'm sorry, Will, I didn't catch the last name. And of course, it was a credit with a blooper reel, so you're not necessarily focusing on people getting their credit. Not a lot of credits, though, and honestly, great timing, lengthwise. But when it comes to technical difficulties, like they needed 5 minutes to finish the download, which was working all day. They've been working on all day, and then karaoke kicked off at the next ballroom, and nobody does, or stage, I should say, and nobody does karaoke softly. Maybe Rory, the poetic critic, knows better from her the occasional small room karaoke, like reminiscent of what you see on Japanese anime, like a Gretsuko, the the more adult themed Sanrio cartoon that was on Netflix. So you had people yelling over the movie essentially on a microphone. So constant noise, dare I say, white noise probably. Just and then the crew working on stuff, trying to get things prepared for the morrow and stuff, since the movie was being rear projected. You can see their heads pop up and out every now and then as they're grabbing cables and what have you to be ready for tomorrow, dare I say. So it's kind of like that scene in Gremlins when after they finally set the movie theater to explode, and then they're making their way out and the Gremlins can see them behind the screen. So yeah, but aside from those technical difficulties, what did I think of making MegaForce? I thought it was a lot of fun. I mean, this is not really a story about MegaForce. I mean, you get some cool stories. They got the producers. Unfortunately, couldn't get Hal Needham since he, passed 12 years ago. But you hear about, Hal Needham respecting what Bob was doing. And it's fun to see that. I mean, a lot of the story is about Bob coming to terms with the fact that this was a movie he had. This came out, he got to see once in the theater. He'd have to drive to Seattle proper to find the only VHS copy to rent back in the day for those long sleepover nights. And but his kids are very supportive of him, and I wish the wife would have gotten a little more in there. I think there is a wife. Just looking at that, let me see all cast and crew. Well, they don't really list that, so it's a small IMDb page right now. Get to work on that, Amazon. No, I mean, it's a story I think any super fan can relate to, and God's bless Bob for actually going through with it, which goes back to the host of the Vampire Media Renaissance panel, and how cool she was, as I'm just BSing about my life. My 20s was wrestling, my 30s was screenwriting attempts, and the 40s is the podcast. And she was like, well, you are busting your ass and doing it. And it's like, yeah. And I guess it kind of goes to something that MC Chris and Dana were not really agreeing on. Do you learn from your failures or your success? And but no, it's like, you have put more effort in than anybody else has. And I say, well, it is something I get from my parents, and it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, I can't complain about my parents right now, but it's kind of feels weird that they're now believing in what I'm pursuing now as a podcaster, professional nerd attempts. And I didn't really get that for the screenwriting or the professional wrestling. They will say what they say. They paid for wrestling school. I had to bust my ass 3 years to get to that point. Where they decided, he's not going to quit. And I'll just leave it at that, because I could even get deeper into that. It just reminds me of a lot more drama in my life. As I say, Thursday was bad. Thursday the 5th was bad. Thursday the 4th was bad. Stacia passed on the 7th, 21 years ago. My mom had her birthday, and that's where the extended family got to learn about, not the extended family, they're my family, siblings, learned about that. And then I got run down by one of them for, like, you can't, you have drama, you can't go and make light of it. It's like, so I don't, didn't help me. And then I lose my job the next day. It's just so many, I guess it's just great to hear about, you put your heart into something and it didn't work out, but you still did more than anybody else. From somebody who's not just trying to, hey, move on, which I got a lot, I guess, from my parents in terms of the wrestling and the screenwriting. And it's just a so I really respect what Bob Lindenmeyer did, because not only did he do more and put more effort into it, he succeeded in getting something out of it. Maybe it wasn't a making of documentary, but he got to, his work, his efforts got him to live out his own fantasies as a kid. And maybe that makes me think, hey, I got to work with little Spike Dudley. So Barry Bostwick's just a lot cooler guy. Well, we didn't have a miscommunication, or I guess Barry and Bob didn't have miscommunications. So it's a movie I loved. Yeah, that's a little hyperbole. I love what it meant to everybody involved with it. It's a good movie. It's a good doc. Like, that's something I'd have more fun with, especially since I haven't seen MegaForce. So, that's on the queue. I'm looking at my clock right now. It's close to 12:40. I'm going to be on another podcast. I got to record on Monday, and I got to find time for dealing with the drama, I should say. Monday. I mean, I've got time. My job I've had the longest ever is just they've been great. I can't, and I just gotta talk to them about how I can fulfill roles better, because I don't know if I'm a warehouse guy. Maybe I can get back and learn to be a little softer on people who are trying to buy technology and decide that they can do it in a sense of illiteracy. So the podcast I'm going to be recording on Monday is going to be for Fave 5 from fans. I met this the producer and host back in Fan Expo NOLA. We were trying to get something set up, I'd say back in February, maybe March, and then I had a lot of con stuff. Indiana Comic Con, you could even throw B-Fest and C2E2 in there, and just failed to connect quickly. And but he's been, he was really great with me, patient with me that we're still doing it. So very cool on him. And whoa, is that? Sorry, it looks like. I just seen an updated picture of Andrew Titi, and it's like, is he wrestling? He kind of looks like he's in a wrestling attire. He's got a headband. Barry Bostwick had his headband, blue one. Jamie Ray. So I do gotta watch a movie to prep for that. It took me a while to figure out how to get Shutter on at my parents' house, but I got it. So it will be done. But we're going to be talking about my five favorite Dario Argento's features. So, and that reminds me, I got another podcast to line up, and hey, I got time now. So all I need is a sponsor, and maybe all my stress will be relieved. With that being said, I did get good news today, but I don't know how much that's going to be approved of by certain people, and but it's about privileges. I'm going to lose one regardless. Don't make me give up the other, another, I suppose. So I don't think I'm gonna watch that movie tonight. Did buy popcorn down at the lobby though, so just gonna figure out the TV system here, see if they've look like an older LG, so I don't know if they've got streaming services all hooked up on it. I got my iPad, so I can still do that like other podcasters. So, how did this get made? Stories of Jason watching the Great Wall on a train from New York to Boston. So, iPads, yay. So now it's just time to get ready for day 2 of GalaxyCon Des Moines. I'm doing my best not to mention the S's. And it's going to start at 2 p.m. for me, or at least I got to be there by 2 p.m., I should say. where I'm going to be doing I Did Crazy Flicks Presents 90 for Chill, room 102 at 2 p.m. And then I will be doing a panel with Jess McCord, the Dread Pirate Sizer, at 8 p.m. room 103. A24 goes horror to the art house. A24 horror goes to the outhouse. So get to talk about all those movies I've watched recently. So too bad I'm gonna miss the that could actually be some tough competition now that I look at it. Jujutsu Kaisen Q&A with the voice cast. I don't think it's any of the characters I know because I've only seen Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie and you can find that podcast on the feed. So mentioning that means I probably should figure a way to work it into the feed. I mean, all these pages on ididcrazyflix.com. So that's what's going on right now. Just gonna get through my formalities then, and I'll let you guys go. Thank you to my Patreon subscribers. That's Tim Bates and The Scoop Staley. You can join the I Did Crazy Flicks Patreon by going to patreon.com/IDidCrazyFlicks. All I'm asking for right now is $3 a month. That gets you a waterproof sticker that I put on all my gear. So, when I was walked out of Benny's, I at least knew, no, you guys got to give me my calculator back. You also get access to the Podbean feed, or the original feed of I Did Crazy Flicks. That was on Podbean before they were all, just promoting the likes of Charlie Kirk. And, nobody deserves to die, but I'm not going to shed a tear for that asshole. I mean, it's a messy situation, but I digress. So yeah, you can listen to me develop into the podcaster I am today, and as obviously I thank Tim and Scoop, so you get that shout out, and you can find Tim Bates on this podcast feed. He's on episodes for 1989's Bloodsport in Space called Arena, and 1988 horror comedy The Night of the Demons, or Night of the Demons I should say. So cool flicks there, crazy flicks as well. And if you don't want to give me the $3 a month, it's probably gonna go to Ava, the Queen Kitty's cat food budget. So you have to respect royalty. So $3 is going to be appreciated by one of us. You can also help the podcast out by rating and subscribing on your favorite podcast apps. 5 stars preferably. Be as honest, though, as you bloody well want in the comments. I'm going to learn from them. So if you're going to do that, I prefer Apple Podcasts, just because I don't think they really do at least podcast reviews on Spotify. I got some numbers there, but I don't know why somebody gave me a 1-star review. So I'm at 4.25, I digress. But the best way to help the podcast is to come on the podcast. You can be a guest. All you need to do is send an email to rustthebus07@gmail.com. That's RUSSTHEBUS07@gmail.com, and offer me a movie, a theme, a director, an actor. As long as the story can go off the rails, off the wall, out of this world, bonkers, what have you, I'll be more than happy to chat about it. But if you got something a little more down to earth, say like making MegaForce, as long as it's between 70 and 100 minutes, I'll be more than glad to help to talk about that. I mean, that's what this podcast was based on originally. So, otherwise, thanks, Station Marie Harden. As they say, I had some good news today in a few places, which I really needed after the past week. And I'm glad, and you really did help me get through a lot of it just by taking a look at your picture. All her pictures are on Main Event of the Dead that I have, maineventofthedead.com. That's not about her. That's for my unproduced screenplay, Main Event of the Dead, wrestling pro wrestling zombie comedy. But Stacia, thanks again though for just looking after me. I hope you're doing that for everybody else you touched in your life, and I hope you're squeezing the ectoplasm out of the fluffiest and most jellicle of kitties, Skimbleshanks the One-Eared Angel. So thanks. I hope I at least gave you a good con experience, if anything. Making MegaForce is kind of like what being at a con is, in a sense. So again, fun flick, and I can't wait to actually watch MegaForce at some point. So very productive day. Thank you, GalaxyCon Des Moines, for having me, and I hope to impress tomorrow with I Did Crazy Flicks Presents 90 for Chill, the podcast, or the panel in this case, and with Skies of Fortune's Jess McCord as we talk about A24 horror. And again, that's 2 p.m. for 90 for Chill, room 102, and 8 p.m. room 103 for A24 Horror Goes to the Art House. Thanks for listening to I Did Crazy Flicks, and I'll be back probably tomorrow.
Can I hear a wahoo?
This podcast was made possible by the love and support of Dave and Cindy Stevens, Rory Stevens and Allison Higgins, Danny Daniels, and Stephanie Smith.
Long live Flash! You've saved your Earth. Have a nice day.